Hello, and welcome back. Today is Wednesday, and I have a very exciting episode. At least I feel it's exciting, and I'd like to actually share it. Now, I'm not looking to ahead of time to spark any kind of controversy or anything else amongst this topic that I'm discussing. I'm just gonna kind of merely point out a few facts. And these are just my opinions and mine alone, for the record. Okay. So, what do you see here in front? Well, you can't actually see it all, I'm afraid. So, let's just kind of slide over. At first, you can see some of my items that I have for sale. We'll get into that later. And then we start to move in. We can see lots and lots and lots of various items. Now, these are all items that I've purchased. And I purchased all of these off of different forum members. Some of them obviously are repeats, and I'll walk you through some of them. Now, the main topic is, should you ever consider to be a silver pourer or a silversmith, or, is it worthwhile? Is it, in your best interest? Well, here's the bad news. In my opinion, no, not really. Not unless you have managed to secure yourself pretty much with some significant deals. And some people have actually gone on to be very successful. I find that really cool. And I'm all for that, 100%. In fact, one of the successful people is, and I envy the heck out of him, and he knows it, is my good buddy, Backyard Bullion. And to give you an idea, I'm missing, I'm not missing because I gave it away, silly enough. These are 1 ounce ones. And I don't have my 2018 because I did it in a giveaway. So I gave away one of them. So I've been following him for a while, including grabbing a hold of way back when, one of his 100-gram bars. And you get a chance to see how his pours are, and how he had done things, and how he's progressed to myself. And if we take a look here at 2017 on the bottom and 2018, you see the font is different, the stamps are different. So I'm not sure the stamps actually are different. The 1 and 1 look the same, but the font is definitely different. More fancy back in 2017, for sure. But his famous ripple pattern, which is always echoed on, virtually every bar. I say virtually because some of them, like this one, I loved it. He wasn't a big fan at the time, but I did. I loved it. I still love it. It's still in my collection, obviously. So I'm not one of those who, I'll go melt them back down because that's just wrong. And here's another one from the same Backyard Bullion. We'll pop that off. I have number 20, which you'll be able to see. Number 20, which is 5.4 ounces Troy. His hallmark. The assay office must have loved him on that day. That's about all I can say to him. And it's supposed to be the world, and he only made 25 of these. So these are actually still highly collectible. In and amongst, ourselves, if you like, there's what appears to be the African continent, and so on and so forth. But yeah, so let's just move stuff away as I talk about it. So I mentioned about, is silver pouring really profitable, or is it not? Well, no and yes. I mean, a lot of people in America can pour things. And let me just grab someone here. This is no example. I mean, this person's been away for a while. And I really hope, I've seen them and I've commented on some private messages. But this is the tree of life here. Now, a lot of you may or may not recognize, because you may be new to this whole thing, but I'll guarantee this is going to be Mr. Zeke, which it is. This is a 1.2 ounce, piece. And in America, the great thing is that you do not have to go through any formal process, for all you know, and I'm not saying that this is the case, but for all you know, here's half a gram, or half an ounce, sorry, not half a gram. It's one of his polo rounds. It's you could end up with anything, being put in. It could be, melted pennies or whatever. And that's not, a bad thing if you trust the person. And clearly everyone here that you're going to see, I trust. So I think here's another Mr. Zeke item here. This is when this, I remember when this mold first came out, because he was not really a big fan of doing molds, Mr. Zeke. He really just liked to do his own little thing. And that's his little maker's mark there. But yeah, as I said, I bought these things not necessarily because I had any substantial meaning, but I was supporting people back in the in the day, and I was trying to raise channel awareness and to boost my profile. Speaking of profiles, here's someone else who just kind of vanished as well off the scene, and that's Laura Blade. Not quite sure why. This was made by a professional company, and yeah, I'm just gonna say that. But that's MK bars. It's 2 troy ounces. But people come and go. And what really surprises me is, I try to answer everyone's messages on YouTube, on Facebook, on email, you name it. Most of my day is spent doing just that, or talking to you guys live. Oh, here's another backyard bullion piece. I forgot all about this one. And it would actually help if I put it I did have it the right way around. No, I didn't. There you go. I know he didn't, Backyard Bullion didn't want this really to be shiny. He wanted it to be, toned. And it's, an eagle. And it's a heavy eagle, just for the record. 5.75. But look at those ripples. Still as beautiful as they were when he poured them. So even when I do get my grubby hands, and you can actually feel the ripples. So they're not just a tiny cosmetic. He really put some heft into knocking that mold with his crucible. So to create these, and they're stunning bits of art. I love them. But yeah, so going on, and as we do, I'm happy to show you some stuff. This is starting to tone up. Extremely interesting. Has a blue tinge to it. Don't know if you can see that. It's kind of blue and green. Mr. Zeke as well. But yeah, he yeah, Mr. Zeke, I wish was just back on the scene pouring. That's all I could say. But it's not really profitable, because in the UK, of course, we have charges, we have everything else to go through. To give you a quick idea, here's a form that I have to fill in, and this is only half of it, obviously. You have to state all of your bits, state how you want to pay stuff, and it goes on and on and on. And it's not cheap. Not when you're doing it on a small scale like myself. Yes, you could make money in America, obviously. You know, you can make money in Canada. Here you go. Here's my good friend Dean from Tomoko's Enterprise. Whoopsie, do not drop angel wings. And he made these especially for me. And I seen his process. If you notice, he initialed them, by the way, which I thought was super awesome. And it says JR, which is my initials. And each one of these here is I think they're both 1.5. Yeah, 1.5 troy ounces. And they're both nicknamed JR. So I have some angel wings here, which are just super cool. Or it could be bird's wings. I mean, it kind of looks like a sparrow wing, I suppose. Seen enough of those things flying around. Yeah, it's about exposure, and it's about helping, you know, other channels out as well in their ventures, and so on and so forth. Because, you know, as a pour here in the UK or a pour in the US, you need to establish a reputation, and you need to establish credentials. I think, oh, that might be a Mr. Zeke piece as well. It is. Yeah, there you go, a special one. I think this is one of his last ones that he done. So, yeah. But, I mean, some of the pours obviously are not with us. Most of them here are, yeah, and they're all still ticking. They may have just stopped and moved on completely, which is sad, really, because there's a lot of great skill. Some of them have just taken a break because the community that we're actually in sometimes can be a headache. You have to kind of to deal with the ups and downs, and you know, one minute you could be yelling at someone, and the next minute you could be best friends. But that's just the way it is. I mean, no one, for the most part, no one copies designs. That's kind of a given. You know, no one tries to, you know, mimic someone else's designs, and that's always a conflict, you know, to be had. Here we go. We have from Newcastle, or Tyneside and Bullion, I believe. I have my two geckos. I love these as well. One of them came with the sprue, so it's a standing version. And one didn't. But, yes, when Tyneside first started out, and I think I was one of his first customers, definitely, for sure. And now I'm at the point now where I'm at, you know, I'm soon to be helping him out. But I mean, he's doing a phenomenal job. I love it. Let's have a look here. Oh, nautical, I believe. Is that a nautical design? I think this is a nautical design. Let's throw him around, shall I? There it is. Yes, it's a nautical design from Nautical Silver. It's a Mickey Mouse standing up. I've still kept him nice and pristine. But yeah, so going back, I mean, so when you're pouring silver, and sorry, before I do that, here's one actually, another one from the UK, and this is from Scotland. This is pure silver, or pure, and you can actually see their hallmarks as well. So they have individual hallmarking, as you can see. That's their special mark. 999, the date. And that was last year's, because we're on you now. So this is a 2018 piece. But yeah, so there are a plethora of amazing pours out there that I've kind of hidden and stayed in. One of the things here, actually, in my collection, I'll go through it. And some people like to, because I'll bounce into my subject, some people like to actually pour multi-metals, which always, I have to say, it raises red flags with me. But as long as, like, this person here, which is Dixie Silver Miner, or the miner, you can see the lovely octopus there. Look at that. Look at the bottom suckers. They do everything separately, which is super. And, you know, they use different furnaces. They use different crucibles. To give you an idea, here's one of their snail shells, if you like. And, yeah, I'm trying to get it focused, but I need to probably put down the octopus. Hello. Okay. But yeah, so it's not always easy. And of course, the marketing side of things, when you're selling things from the US to the UK, in the US, you know, people will, bear in mind, I'm from, you know, Connecticut in America. People will a lot of them will just see dollar. That's it. US dollar, period. And they can't get their heads around the fact that there's different currencies, or even how to convert currencies. So potentially I'm losing a lot of clients because people can't understand how to do, you know, currency conversions. And, you know, whilst that's frustrating a bit, I just think, oh, well, forget it. You know, at the end of the day, if you cannot do a currency conversion, you know, then I'm okay with that, because it'll potentially weed out any kind of issues or potential issues. And that's another thing. I mean, when you're selling poured silver, you know, there's risk elements involved. There we go. I think this was from Pure as well, up in Scotland. By the way, I hope you're doing well, buddy. Oh no, sorry, that's arg. I just messed up. It's not from Pure at all. I've just messed up. But yeah, so you have to have some kind of measure to say that it is pure. I mean, I'll pick on a friend here that I know is going to be fine. Here we go, Dean. Dean likes to send these little tiger figures, and trust me, it's not my camera. Okay, these are so dang small. How he poured them, I don't know. I think he actually broke his little mold, but and he even stamped them. But you know, the funny thing is that, you know, as I was saying about, like, you know, testing something, I would have to sell this as a white metal in the UK, because even though it has a stamp on it, there's nothing stamped that indicates it's genuine. So, you know, I just buy it because I think, hey, that's it. But, you know, that comes at a big cost. And that cost is what cripples a lot of the silver pourers, especially here in the UK. And oops, so we'll just flip it this way. There we go, K4. This is one of his pressed ones. And yeah, it's just one of those really horrible things. Do I think that you should not give it a go? Well, no, at the end of the day, you know what? If you have a bunch of milky silver, or if you have a bunch of, silver that you just want to mess around with or to convert or whatever, then yeah, go for it. But are you going to get rich off of pouring silver? No. No, not even backyard bullion, where he thought he was at that process where um, he needed to go through a whole VAT scheme and then very quickly realized that was a really bad move. I'm not even doing a fraction of what he's doing, if that makes any sense. Yeah, this one's from Rick's Metalwork. So now this is one of his items that he sold. I believe it's in the UK, hence the flag down below. But yeah, there isn't an assay on this, and that's another risky bet, because in one of the forums that is, I mean, this is clearly not a bar. It is not a, denominated figure. And I'm not picking on Rick's for this, because I love this piece anyway. But the criteria says is that, in order to sell this, it has to be hallmarked, even though it's bullion, which it's being sold under. It's just, it's not like, let's say this, Backyard bullion can get away with selling this if you wanted to without having to have it assayed. But to be safe and to obviously to give reassurance to customers, it's better to do so. But when you start moving on to things like this here, where it's like a little squirrel, where it's intricate, or even designs like this where it's a 3D design and it's it's not really, it's more art than it is bullion, because essentially you can put this in a clasp and wear it around your neck. Yeah, it should really be stamped. But hey, there's laws and then there's laws. I mean, it's an extremely gray area, but as I said, here in the UK, it's definitely not worth it to risk it and miss out on anything if you do it wrong. I sure as heck wouldn't want to risk anything. Hold a minute here. There we go. Just love some of the intricacies and how delicate all of these things are. Now, I appreciate, if you're still with me, you've been kind of listening to me ramble and showing off some beautiful silver, really. That there are, and that is sharp as, by the way, that some people have done, including, this was, or is officially number one, because number one got lost somewhere, not because of me, but apparently the person who sold it or bought it from the Colonel lost it. So I officially have number one, although this will show number two. And this is before the Colonel put in real gemstones as well. And that was something that was super awesome. So this is when he was experimenting with that. We definitely couldn't get away with that without having to declare it on a form in the UK. The minute that you add in any details or anything else. Also my lovely Guy Fawkes. But yeah, so going back to the overall topic about whether or not you should pour, as I said, yes, by all means pour, but you can see from the minor DSM there. be my guest, pour away. But just note that, you know, trying to, establish a brand, and I've been at it for a while now, is much more difficult unless you're prepared to sit at a computer for hours upon hours every single day, go into everyone's chat, get all these subscribers. That's not me. I like to establish a brand based upon the quality of my work. And no, you're not reading that wrong. He stamped that 999 upside down deliberately. He did it as a thing for me. So there we go. But yeah, so it's one of those things where you really have to know what you want to do, what you want to set yourself at, where you want to be. Like, this is clearly a piece of jewelry here, for instance. And just for the record, as you can see there, it is also perfectly hallmarked, because by law, this would definitely fall under that category. No ifs, ands, or buts. There is a tiny bit here which says, hey, I can put that around my neck. This, if he was to sell it, and this is from Pure as well, if he was to sell this without having this hallmarked, he would be in breach of the I think it's the 1987 Assay Act, and I know no one wants to fall foul of that, so I may be wrong on what act it is, but yeah. Before I move on to the last piece over there, I'll show you this one, and I appreciate you spending the time. This, by the way, came in a wooden box. If I show it to you above, there we have it. Okay. And this was made by the miner himself. And all of you guys who know me, ouch, just cut myself. This is razor sharp, by the way. So I'll be holding it like that. Know that, the trident means a lot. So I have a sterling silver base. I have a copper center, sterling silver as well. And he's not trying to hide the fact that it's sterling silver. Included in my COA, it even says so. I mean, he's ensured that, hey, look, this is not pure bullion or anything else. It is just silver. This is, by the way, you would be noticing I am missing a few items, and those are in my boys' safes, such as my 10-ounce, well, I say they're my boys' 10-ounce round bars from Losing Louis. And those, as I said, I'm not going to go through my boys' safes and pull out all of their stuff, because that's theirs, and, I respect their privacy now. As they grow older, their safes are filling up more and more, and they tend to be nicking more and more of my stuff, so I'm having to hide it. But so this one here is just to give you an idea for size-wise, okay? This is insane for your size here, okay? And I believe overall this weighs over 10 ounces. In fact, let me check it out. But so while I'm doing that, I mean, the other aspect with it, with everything is on this bit would be that there you go. The total weight, 14.395 ounces troy. So about half a kilo there, nearly. But yeah, so is that you could end up buying a piece from somebody and then you'll never hear from them again. I don't like that kind of thing. I like to keep a relationship with the people I buy stuff off of, and you could probably gather from my pieces who I keep in contact and who I don't really. I know that sounds maybe a bit rude, but yeah, well, once you kind of lose that personal touch, it's one of those really just sad things. And this was one of my bigger pieces I bought, and it was from Bernie. And yeah, sadly, I lost contact with Bernie. It is just amazing. King Tut. Inside here, we have, this is why it was also so heavy. Another Bernie piece, which you would have seen, by the way, on the skull, his anchor mark. And move on to the mummy, if you like. You like how he raised his symbol up here? Not many people have seen that. So if you try to reproduce this, which I would never do, yeah, you're going to have a Bernie symbol on it. Haha. And it's one of my favorite pieces. But I've always been inspired by things. And to kind of conclude, because I mean, I've gone on for half an hour. And if you stayed around and if you've been watching this and listening to my ramble, I started Ace Bullion because Ace means a lot to me. This design right here, my first ever design, means a ton. Now, not only obviously is it tattooed on me, but it has a deep meaning onto it. You can see my hallmark here. And by the way, this is one of my styles for my own personal mark. If I zoom in a bit, let's get it cleaned up really, so I don't do much cleaning until I send them out. There's a better version of it. And on some of my bigger pieces, I like to do my bigger hallmark there. So that's number 1 with my hallmark. And even that, by the way, is 1, 2, 3 spades. And then you get that. So it's a lovely 3D model. But anyway, yeah, it's one of those things. You're not going to be rich. You're not going to make a fortune. Chances are you're probably going to lose money along the way. But, you know, just have a good time and enjoy yourself if that's what you want to do. It is a niche market. And, you know, I like to think of the people who buy the poured silver for myself, or that I buy the poured silver off of, you know, as just more than, you know, kind of a client and, you know, a business relationship. You know, a lot of these people I've supported because they're friends, or just because I really love the designs. And it's a really tough decision, but there you have it. That's my rambling for today. That's my poured silver. That's some of my collection here, and even more so over here, of the poured and crafted silver from other people. Some for sale. Well, these are all for sale on my website, and that's really about it. So I hope you guys have just enjoyed seeing anything, if nothing else. Yeah, have a great day. So, as always, bye for now.